That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we'll go ahead and let some investors come into this room because we're about to have some good conversation today. Oh, I got one investor in the room. I got one investor in the room. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I got 5 investors. Hey, guess what? I got a full room. Oh, I got 7 investors. That means it's 7,000 people in this room.
I got 7 investors. That means it's 7,000 people.
That's my audio. So, investors, guess what? Let's go ahead and talk about this because I already got a full room. I got 5,000 people. Let's talk about this. I did a video. So, the reason why I got shades on, this video is in honor of Deebo&Joe. I have brought up Deebo&Joe in other lives, and today, around, I can't remember what time it came, the live was showing. I got so much information from that live. We go talk about it. So the first thing on the agenda is we finna jump straight into it. We know that we have lost Deebo&Joe. I did a video on October the 29th. I didn't know that was going to come back and hunt all of these players. But I mentioned in that video, Kevin Stefanski was willing to sacrifice, I hope I can say that on YouTube, sacrifice all 53 active roster players, including the practice squad, in honor to give Dillon Garbiel his shot as quarterback. If you haven't watched that video, of course, it's been long ago. I'm going to tag it at the end of this video whenever YouTube finish processing it. Let me keep going. I was stressing in that video that Kevin Stefanski, because Dillon Garbiel couldn't get the ball down the field, that everybody else, Jerry Jeudy, even though he was colluding with Kevin Stefanski, his stats was hurting. The tight end stats was hurting. Except for Jenkins at that time, his stats was okay because he was the running back. Okay. When Dillon Garbiel was playing, let me go in and set the tone. He couldn't get the ball down the field. And Njuko was getting limited plays and catches, before he crossed that 5-year, 7-yard mark at the time. So Tony talks, Vesta, what we talking about? We lost Deebo&Joe, as everybody should know. Guess what they used against him to not re-up his contract? Because from what I'm hearing, and even Mary Kay, hint, dang, I said her name, it was many issues that, how can I say it? When they went in to negotiate, of course, I'm pretty sure 3 things happened. Even Deebo&Joe didn't get the money that he wanted, or they was going to downgrade or give him less money because of the stats that he produced this year. Or, he just said, hey, I don't want to be in Cleveland no more. One of those things happened. Now, we do know that Fannin outperformed Njuko this year, and Fannin was raw talent. Fannin stats. Hold on, I wrote down the stats because Njuko didn't have these stats. But what I'm getting at, before Fannin got out there, Njuko was the veteran tight end. But because Kevin Stefanski played Dillon Garbiel, everybody's stats dropped, which is the Browns used that against Njuko in negotiating this contract. That's why Njuko has left. I'm hearing that it's contract issues. They couldn't come up with an agreement against the contract terms. Njuko was gone. Now, guess what? As I stated in so many other videos, Dillon Garbiel, the only person that Kevin Stefanski cared about was Dillon Garbiel. That means all those other players, all of those fathers, those brothers, those uncles, their lives have been impacted because of the stats from this year. Now, the only glimpse that they had was Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to get to that, investors. I'm going to get to that because hold on. Do you know that Cleveland's still talking crazy? Hold on, something else came up, but let me stick with this. Deebo&Joe, he's leaving. Another reason why he's probably leaving, maybe the Cleveland Browns have told him, hint, based off your stats this year, we're going to give Fannin tight end 1, which Fannin does deserve. But we do have to consider Njuko's stats went down. It's because Kevin Stefanski and his commitment to Dillon Garbiel. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get another tight end. We could get another tight end. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing, Justin and Amber? Because guess what? We got something to talk about today. So I'm going to get to it. So next thing, Jim Schwartz. Now, I said in the video, I know that Jim Schwartz was hurt after Todd Monken was hired as the head coach, but because he left, guess what? People was talking about this. And I said, wait, Jim, I understand that your ego is hurt. Go take some time off. Don't leave the Cleveland Browns. Guess what? And maybe you know this, Vestas, maybe you know this, but I just found this out today. It was two things I found out today. Jim Schwartz still has one more year on his contract. Do you know that the Cleveland Browns, if another team requests Jim Schwartz as the DC, do you know that the Cleveland Browns now have the power, just like the Steelers have the power over Mike Tomlin, to say, okay, you can hire him as your DC, but I want X, Y, and Z. That means they can request $150 million before Jim Schwartz can play for any other team in the NFL. Now, if Jimmy Haslem felt some type of way about Nate Shellhouse, giving him to run around for 7 hours interview and all that, flying to LA to try to coax and try to accommodate Nate Shellhouse, how do you think Jim right now is feeling about Jim Schwartz basically saying, I'm leaving? That man has left money on the table. He had one more year on the table. Now, Deebo&Joe, I'm going to play a clip about what they said about Jim Schwartz. Before I do, guess what? Because Jim left the way that he did because of his ego, guess what? The Cleveland Browns could sit on him for another year. Because he walked away, he may not even get I'm pretty sure he walked away. He's not even going to get a paycheck this year. And for what Joe and Deebo said today, they said that this is the worst thing that a coach could ever do in the NFL. Yeah, we don't heard about players sitting out, don't want to play because, hey, they waiting on something different or contract. But they said, when you're a coach and you just step down and leave and you don't fulfill your contract, they said that is the worst thing that you can do in the world. So Jim Schwartz, guess what? He may have coached his last year in the NFL if Jimmy Haslem and Andrew Barry, I'm going to say if Jimmy Haslem Jim Schwartz could have coached his last year in the NFL if Jim Haslem don't say, okay, hey, yeah, you could go to such and such team, but guess what? That team still got to give Cleveland Browns something. And do you think a team really wants to give the Cleveland Browns any type of draft pick? Because exactly that's what they're going to ask for. And I don't think that. And now, just like Shedeur Sanders' resume has increased, Jim Schwartz, he has a very good resume. Do you think that Jimmy Haslem, come on, we got to think about it as a business person. Do you think Jimmy Haslem is going to ask for a 5th round, 6th round, or 7th round for Jim Schwartz after he's had Myles Garrett win Defensive Player of the Year? He's had the top 1, 2, top 5 defensive team in NFL. Jim Schwartz has messed up his money. Jim Schwartz, if I'm saying his name right, has messed up his money because of his ego. And guess what? It's another thing I learned. Did you know that Jim Schwartz has been a head coach before? Did you know that Jim Schwartz was a head coach before? Tony Talks Vested Up. What you talking about? Well, still listen to Deebo&Joe today. That's why I got on this shades in honor of Deebo&Joe. So they talking. And I'm coming in at the video about the last 30 minutes of the live and stuff. So they say, yeah, Jim Schwartz, hey, he used to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions. I said, what? What? Then come to find out, I started Googling stuff. Here go Jim Schwartz. If I was the Cleveland Browns, I wouldn't give him I wouldn't give him the head coach vacancy job either. Now, at first, I thought that Jim Schwartz was just a DC, trying to get a promotion as the head coach. No, Jim Schwartz was one of the worst. No lie, one of the worst NFL head coaches ever. Here's the proof. If you don't believe me, go Google it. Jim Schwartz, here's his stats. He stayed 5 seasons with the Detroit Lions. I didn't know that. See what your ego does, Jim? You allow people to go start digging up things on you and start telling the truth about you. Here's his record. 29 wins, 52 losses in 5 years. Let me read it again. 29 wins, 52 losses. That was 0.363. You want to know what Kevin Stefanski, even though I definitely don't like him, do you want to know what his stats was? Guess what? Kevin Stefanski's stats was better than Jim Schwartz when you compare the two records. Jim, you know what? Jim, your ego has got you into this trouble. Jim, you should have known that the Cleveland Browns was just being nice to you because you was the current DC for the Cleveland Browns. Kevin Stefanski's record was 0.446. Jim Schwartz record was 0.363. If I would have found this information out, if the Cleveland Browns would have hired Jim, and if I would have found this information afterwards, I would have thought they was definitely setting up Shedeur Sanders again for another losing record. Jim should have been honored to even get a first and a second interview with Cleveland. They was just being nice because, hey, you already part of the family. But Jim, I can't believe he actually was upset that he didn't get the head coaching vacancy over Todd Monken. I was giving Jim grace because I didn't know this information. I said, hey, Jim, I understand you want to get promotion, but Jim, we need you here as a defensive coordinator. Look what you have done. Man, Jim is a Jim. Who did he really thought because he was already inside the Cleveland Browns organization, they was going to hire him? Andrew Berry, who, if that was you again and say, hey, Jim, I understand, Jim Haslem, hey, I understand that we want to have loyalty towards our own, but hey, we need to really consider Jim Schwartz's resume. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm so glad that Jim did not get that job. I'm actually looking at him sideways because his ego got in the way. If you don't believe me, hey, I ain't never played no NFL, but guess what? I'm going to let you hear from some NFL players. Hold on. First time here. Hey, thank you, Amber. DJ wasn't playing. Exactly. I think DJ yards, average per yard started about maybe 7.3 or whatever, but he ended with 4.7. That's why I jumped. And guess what? The Njuko got injured. I think with Dillon Garbiel was because he did play in the game against the Tennessee Titans. That's when Shedeur played. But at that time, all of the players, which we thought was the wrong scenario, that all of the players, the wide receiver 1s and 2s, the tight ends, would get hurt before Shedeur Sanders would get an opportunity to play. And that's exactly what happened. So Shedeur Sanders came in after Njuko was already injured, because remember, for Njuko, it was on a week-to-week basis. Dillon Garbiel got the best of all of the whole entire Cleveland Browns offense, but Kevin Stefanski is the one that hurt these players' stats. And like I said in other videos, the power to negotiate the next contract that they would get for any team. So get this now. Imagine when Njuko, because I heard he's going to go out as an undrafted free agent. Imagine him taking his resume to another team, let's say Dallas or the Steelers or whatever. You know they're going to look at his stats from this year. Kevin Stefanski sacrificed all of these players, just like I said. And I heard that Taylor, the center, is on the verge of leaving too. Wow, that must be crazy. Hey, how you doing, Grim Creeper? Hey, Tony. Hey, how you doing? The Mom Map 23. How you doing? Let me go ahead and play this clip from some NFL players, because, hey, maybe Tony Talks vested up is talking out of her mouth. But hold on, I got these receipts. Let me put on my glasses in honor of Deebo&Joe. Hold on. Because I got the receipts. Hold on. You're going to hear it out of their mouth. And the last clip that I'm going to play, what they talked about regarding the Jock tax. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get to that. Hold on.
Jim Schwartz said, you know what, man? That man Jim Schwartz.
I'm resigning, man. Brown still ain't got a DC. What y'all gonna do, Joe?
We gonna get a DC. We gonna get a DC.
Ooh.
But the Jim Schwartz.
Who you gonna get to come to Cleveland?
I don't know, Debo. I don't know.
Who would you like to come to Cleveland?
Hold on. Fair use.
So, you want to go be D coordinator?
Nah.
Wow. You don't want to help your team.
I do want to help my team
so much that you was.
Yeah, it was Detroit.
Hey, I'm hearing the man got a little ego too. I'm hearing the man got a little ego. I mean, by little, I say little ego. And like this right here, man, just took off on him.
I can't believe that he took off on us. I mean, I can't believe it because he wanted the head coaching job. He wanted it bad. But I would have hoped that the owners...
All these players talking about Jim this, Jim that, love Jim. He said, they ain't give me the job. You guys, I'm gone. That ain't love, bro.
He felt like he deserved better.
Now they're going to go into some more, but what they saying is, you remember when Jim Schwartz was going out for the head coach job, and Myles Garrett said he loved it, Jim, and all these other players came out. They was rooting for Jim Schwartz to get the head coach job. What they're talking about, these ex-NFL players are talking about, they love Jim. They let it known that Jim was loved in Cleveland. These ex-NFL players are basically saying that he walked out on those players. Everybody that loved him, Jim said, I'm gone. F you, Cleveland defensive players. That's what he said. Now, hold on.
I feel like he should have.
I understand he deserved better. He only had 1 year left, man. Go ahead, give your boys that last year.
Get that boy that last year, man. The Browns, Miles misses you.
You ain't about to get a job nowhere else anyway. You just resigned. That's the death penalty for a coach. Just leave up out of there. And you wasn't even a good head coach. And you were trash.
And you still under contract.
Yes. And you was a trash head coach.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
One of the worst to ever do it.
Think.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, with the as record
what?
show.
30th worst, 300 and something worst ever in something. Like, come on.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I understand, but I also understand that, prime example, like if you really cared about these dudes, like, yo, let's go. I'm under contract anyway.
So that means that Kevin Stefanski didn't care about none of these players. And now there's proof that the defensive coordinator didn't care about these players also. Jim left these players with 1 year under contract, thinking that he was getting hired somewhere else. These are NFL ex-players talking. They're talking like people are talking behind the scenes. So if Jim Schwartz go out to attempt to get another interview or to get another head coach job, the next team is going to consider that, hey, Cleveland still has you under for 1 year. And then do you know how the players are going to see if they see Jim walk in the locker room? Well, hold on. Hey, if he left Myles Garrett and the Cleveland Brown defensive team that was first, second in the top 5 defensive teams of the NFL, hey, we're nowhere near Cleveland Browns. Is this man really going to give his leadership to us? Jim has screwed himself. Let me continue. Hold on.
I ain't happy. I'm going to swallow this. Let's run it back.
We do 1 more year, and then and then he go get another.
And how does it work if you just resign and you're under contract? Like, do he got to pay that back? How does that work? I don't even know how.
I don't know. Is that like he just for deep?
Like, can you ever go anywhere else because I own you?
I got your rights. Is that like a player trying to retire to get out of the deal?
Retire, like Grunt, when he retired and he came back and they had to give they had to give some something to New England to get him in Tampa.
Yep.
Like, do you think that they are going to allow you to come back and coach anywhere after you just did this? I'm going to tell them, hey, listen, what you want to do to keep or get this man And then they go say, well, we're willing to do this. And I'm going to say, give me $150 million and I'll let him coach for you.
What did I say? Because the Cleveland Browns still owns Jim Schwartz for another year, just like the Steelers own Mike Tomlin for another year. They can say, you know what, Jim, you know what? We tried to be nice to you. We even offered you more money. We rolled out the red carpet for you too. You know what, Jim? You ain't going nowhere. You know what? You want to play dirty? We go play dirty too. Guess what? If somebody team wants you, whoever you want to go to, guess what? We're going to ask for $100 million for you. Shut them down. Let me see. Let me finish playing this clip. Only got 30 more seconds.
Screwed us over like this. You ain't going to never get another ego. My ego go talk as the owner. My ego go talk, bro.
You ain't letting him go for nothing.
No, I ain't letting him go for nothing. You think you left because you got the I'm deep, they gonna miss me. No, you gonna miss never getting a job in the NFL again.
Hey, I didn't say it. Deebo&Joe said it. ex-NFL player. Deebo used to play for the Steelers and Joe used to play for the Cleveland Browns. Did you hear Deebo say he basically gave us insight on how these billionaires stink? Oh, just like Jim Schwartz' ego is bruised, Jim Haslem ego is bruised too. He ain't letting him go. If Jim decides to let Jim go to another team as a DC, it's no telling what Jim is going to get for Jim. You hear what I'm saying? Catch it what I just put down, okay? So on the cover, I have discussed David Njuko. I've discussed Jim Schwartz. Now, before I get into the Shedeur Sanders piece, because Joe and Deebo, they're going to say something that shocked me. And I had to come do this live. Because if you know anyone that wants to go to the NFL and that's currently in college, you better share this information I'm going to give you. So that's going to be last. Guess what's being reported today? So, you know, Deshaun Watson name was coming up maybe 2 weeks ago after the week 18 game that Deshaun Watson may be QB1 and Shedeur Sanders is going to be second. We already know that talking rhetoric. It has been an update. All of the charges against Deshaun Watson, I really thought they were already dropped, is dropped now. Okay, so I think that's what the narratives that Deshaun Watson was going to be Cleveland's next QB1. Maybe that's why those narratives started talking again. And now that all the narratives have dropped, hey, who knows? Other teams could, because Deshaun Watson only got one more contract. So who knows? So it may be a true gamble about who's going to be QB1 this year, Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. I got that. Hey, I get that. And then other teams could ask for a trade for Deshaun Watson now that he's clear, code of conduct. But you know what? After that Epstein files list came out, and then we saw some of those owners being associated with Epstein, they shouldn't have nothing against Deshaun Watson to hold their hat on. If you hear what I'm saying. So we'll see what goes on in that. But guess what the other news is? There's a backup quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. So it's two. So it's Deshaun Watson. Now I'm hearing talks in Cleveland that Cleveland may give up 2 first-round drafts to pick up Mendoza. And then I'm hearing the Cleveland Browns may go out and get the backup, one of the backups from Green Bay Packers. I think his name is Willis or something like that. It begins with a W. Let me tell you this. If Cleveland wants to gamble again and get Mendoza or get Willis or get a Derek Carr or anybody else in the NFL that's considered a veteran to replace Shedeur Sanders, because do you believe that the Cleveland media is pushing this again? The media. If the Cleveland Browns want to play stupid and trade Shedeur or give put somebody else ahead of Shedeur Sanders this year here, Todd Monken, this is where you, as the new Cleveland Browns head coach, should stand up for Shedeur Sanders if it's true. Now, if the Cleveland Browns do pick up another quarterback, We know that we fell for one of the biggest tricks in the world. Now, I can see them picking up, quote unquote, another quarterback if they trade Dillon Garbiel to Kevin Stefanski. And Njoku, let me tell you this. Since you're out there searching and you're going to entertain teams as an undrafted free agent, if I hear about Njuko, the one that played in Shedeur Sanders' face as brother, because look at that thumbnail I put out there. It's the reason why I put that thumbnail. Shedeur Sanders has his arm inside of Njoku's arm. Remember, it was a brotherhood. If David Njoku goes to Atlanta Falcon after what Kevin Stefanski did to his stats, did to his old team, the Cleveland Browns, and did to Shedeur Sanders, Njoku don't even have to worry about me no more. Because I was, wherever he went, I was going to cheer him on. Because I knew how Shedeur Sanders felt about him. Right? But going back to Atlanta Falcons, the rumor is still going on that Dillon Garbiel may get traded to Atlanta Falcons. If that's the case, I understand they will only have Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson on contract. Okay, you're going to need a third quarterback. I understand. Gotcha. But if they keep Dillon Garbiel, they keep Deshaun Watson, they keep Shedeur Sanders, and want to bring in Mendoza or bring in the Green Bay quarterback or bring in Derek Carr, all Shedeur Sanders supporters, we have been had. We have been had. If they do this, that means they have played with our money. They have played with our time. They have played with our passion. And they have taken us for granted. And if they do that, if they take Shedeur Sanders, despite all that he has done with no O-line, with no wide receivers, with Fannin as the tight end, because Fannin got hurt. Kevin Stefanski took Fannin away from Shedeur Sanders after the Tennessee Titans game. Remember, Fannin got hurt in week 17. Shedeur Sanders started playing the Raiders game. I think that was week 11 or 12. For 5 weeks, I looked at the stats. Fannin targets and yards was decreasing. Kevin Stefanski, what he's done to this team and all of those players. As I stated in another video, if I was all of them, especially with Kevin Stefanski gone, I would be filing so many complaints and grievances against Kevin Stefanski. Now, somebody also said the reason why the Cleveland let go Kevin Stefanski so fast. Well, you already know the reason why I said Atlanta picked him up, because how Matt Ryan used to know Kevin Stefanski way back then in the Pennsylvania. You already saw that video. If not, it's out there on that thumbnail. Is red and gray, and Acho is on that thumbnail. And there's some more information that came out about the relationship with Matt Ryan and Kevin Stefanski and Acho. Okay, so I'm not done with Acho, but Kevin Stefanski, he should have so many grievances. If I was the spouses, I would file all of those grievances against Kevin Stefanski. They said the reason why the Cleveland Browns let Kevin Stefanski go the way that they did, it was they fired him. It was something in the contract or something in the pink slip they gave him allowed him to go to another team very easily. And as you see, Kevin Stefanski was hired. Get this now. Kevin Stefanski was hired before John Harbaugh. How's that even possible? John Harbaugh was hired 3 days after Kevin Stefanski. Now, I believe what my girl says, what she said, Sports says, that Kevin Stefanski was awarded by how he treated Shedeur Sanders. Because how do Kevin Stefanski, one of the weakest, one of the losers, has one of the weakest winners records ever, get hired before John Harbaugh? The Atlanta Falcons, let me spell it out to you. The Atlanta Falcons didn't even, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say this. Maybe they gave John Harbaugh one interview. I'm going to give it to him because I don't know. But I do know Kevin Stefanski was hired for any team ahead of John Harbaugh. So it is what it is. No other team was showing interest in him, though. Who is him? Amber. Raiders are going to get Mendoza. And guess what? They should. This is what I'm saying. The Cleveland media, out of all the goodness that Shedeur Sanders, the attention that Shedeur Sanders has brought to Cleveland, even winning games and breaking records, they still hating on Shedeur Sanders. But guess what? They got to deal with it. Look, guess what? Both can't survive. Even the Cleveland media is going to hire whoever's putting out these narratives, or Shedeur Sanders is going to be gone. And guess what? I only one can survive in that space. But if I was Todd Monken, I don't care if I don't publicize it. I would have all the media come in for a private meeting as the head coach and say, hey, I understand you got to get paid. And I understand your job is to report certain things. But hey, this is my second-year veteran quarterback. Now, I understand you got a job. You can report the accuracy of his stats and everything. But I don't want to hear no lying narratives. Todd Monken has so much power. And do you know Todd Monken also was Cleveland Browns OC, I think 2019, 2020. So Todd Monken knows what he deal with, but he was an OC at the time. And Freddie Kitchens is the one that was holding him back from being an actual OC. But if I was Todd Monken, you wouldn't be able to put no bad media press on Shedeur Sanders. And I'm looking at Todd too, because the Cleveland Browns media is acting stupid again. Kevin was rewarded for the yes. I think I see you in what she said sports comments also. So yeah, I totally believe it. I wouldn't put it past in the Browns. We shall see. We definitely shall see. Schwartz, no one is trying to hide. You know why? I don't know if you was in here, Amber. I think you was. Hey, if Jimmy put a tag on him, because he still got that 1 year contract left. If Jimmy put a tag on him, Jim ain't going nowhere. Jim go sit home and draw a net pay of 0.00 because he walked away from the job. The Browns don't have to pay him. He still had 1 more year. And if Jim, like Deebo&Joe just said, you ain't going nowhere. Jimmy Haslem has an ego just like Jim Schwartz does. Jim could say, you ain't going nowhere, Jim. And guess what, Jim? If a team wants you that bad because you uncoached up Myles Garrett, you uncoached up the defensive players, Ward. I mean, Jim, his ego was that big. He walked away from a Super Bowl caliber defense. Ward, I'm going to mess up some of their names, but I know Ward, I know Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, the rookie of the year defensive player, Schwartz, whatever. Jim ego was that big. And guess what? You know what? It's probably good because we don't want that type of ego in the building to walk away from something like that. Jim finna get paid zero money and he's finna sit down on the couch. And you heard what Joe and Deebo said. No other team was probably going to touch him because they saying if you did it to the Cleveland Browns and you walked away from a Super Bowl caliber team, what you gonna do to me if I don't give you what you want, Jim? So I'm gonna keep moving forward. So we gonna keep moving forward. Okay, so I beat that horse. But Kevin Stefanski has messed up all of these players. And Joe, David Njuko, if you go to any other team besides Atlanta Falcons, you have my blessing. But if you go to the Atlanta Falcons and go play on the Kevin Stefanski, that's gonna say a lot. That's gonna say a lot. Shedeur Sanders, if he does that, Shedeur Sanders, his circle needs to get smaller and smaller and smaller, even with the teammates, quote unquote, that says they have a brotherhood with Shedeur Sanders, okay? Why would David go to the Atlanta Falcons with Kevin Stefanski and hurt his chances to get a bigger contract? But we shall see. Trust me. In the next undrafted free agency window opens for early negotiation is March the 9th. Signing is March the 11th. We almost got 30 days. March finna tell it all. Hear what I'm saying? March finna tell it all. Hey, if you're in the room, please double tap the screen and just like the video so the algorithm does not kill the video. But we finna move on. All right. So if you caught my Super Bowl post game, remember I was mentioning that, hey, the winners of the game only get 178,000. The highest is 188. And then I brought up about, dang, it's in California. The taxes in California, it's either the highest or the second highest state in terms of taxes. So me and the viewers at that time, we kind of did a quick calculation, and we was like, man, the winners as a bonus is only going to take maybe at 178,000, maybe 80,000, 70,000 home as a bonus, right? Vestas. This is for educational purposes. If you know any young man in your life or family that wants to go to college and has the NFL on their, what do they call it? Their dream board or their, I forgot what it's called. But if that's their aspirations, you make sure they know exactly how that NFL paycheck is going to look like. Tony Talks Vested Up. What are you talking about? As the show continues to go with Joe and Deebo, they start talking about how California, the players that won the Super Bowl supposed to get 178,000 before taxes. I thought after taxes they'll be walking away with 70 to 80,000, and the losers of the Super Bowl only get about, let's say, 70,000. Do you know two things about California? Sam Arnold and the Seahawks that won the Super Bowl. Do you know because they won that Super Bowl in California? I heard that Sam Arnold and most of those players owe California money. What are you talking about? I'm going to play that clip. The taxes in California is so high. They said Sam Arnold owes about $50,000 to $70,000 more to California in taxes. Where am I getting to? They say because the Super Bowl was played in California. California, there is a law. There is a law that says if the Super Bowl comes there, and maybe let's say the playoffs too, but for sure I know the Super Bowl, and hint the Pro Bowl. I just gave you a hint where I'm going. California is not just able to tax the winning salaries and the bonus that the teams got. They're able to tax the players' whole entire annual salary. Do you hear what I'm saying? So if Sam Arnold, I heard he got 3 years for 100 million. What's that? Let's say 35,000, right? 35 million. That means even though Sam Arnold has paid taxes throughout the year to his state and all the other states that these teams have to go play into, because believe it or not, I didn't know this. NFL players have to pay taxes in the state that the team that they own, and when they go travel away, they have to pay taxes in that state. But one thing about California, they're able to tax a player's whole entire annual salary. I said, what? So if you go Google the headlines, Sam Arnold, even though he won the Super Bowl, even though the Super Bowl has came to California and flooded the economy, some of these players are leaving California with less money. They owe California money. Why is the NFL hasn't corrected this? The NFL Player Association, if you don't know this, the NFL Player Association, go to their homepage. Their mission is to protect the players on and off the field. And they allow this? Deebo&Joe, in the clip that I'm about to tell you, he said he reached out to them and say, hey, why are you NFL Players Association? Because remember, they supposed to hold the bargaining agreement between the NFL and the players. Why are you allowing this to happen? I'm going to play that clip. Hold on. Schwartz, they shouldn't get anything. It wasn't that bad, Amber. I enjoyed it because I like a good defensive game. It wasn't that boring. Now, yeah, they couldn't score no points because of the defense, but I like a good defensive game. And Shilo coming to a high. Hold on. Are you playing with me, Landon Price? Or please, are you playing with me? Or are you serious? Because I know that Shedeur Sanders is supposed to be putting in some words and somebody else supposed to be putting in words. But I hope that's true. I hope that's true. Let me go ahead and play this. Let me go ahead and play this clip right here. I'm going to show you how the NFL is allowing. So once again, if you know any young man that has aspirations to go to the NFL and they actually have the skills to make it in the NFL, you better tell them, they better know what taxes they're going to get hit with in regular season and postseason. I thought these players was actually making more money in the playoffs and stuff. These players, especially in California, got ripped off. California will tax or has tax their whole entire paycheck for the year. They call it a duty tax and a jock tax. Now, I know we probably heard about jock taxes, but this is a duty tax for the whole week they was in California. Now, in the thumbnail, if you just came in the room because of the thumbnail, that means Shedeur Sanders. Because the Pro Bowl was held in San Francisco. Guess what? I think Shedeur Sanders, even though the AFC lost, quote unquote, I think he still was going to get, let's say, $50,000. Guess what? Shedeur Sanders fall into that too. You know why I know that? Because Deebo&Joe said the same thing. It goes for the Pro Bowl. It goes for the Pro Bowl, and I'm assuming any team that goes to California to play for the regular season. Watch this. Listen to this. I got the receipts. Listen to this next clip. And then I'm going to let you go, Vestas.
Boomer said that Sam Darnold lost money playing in the Super Bowl because of California taxes, bro.
That is, when I first read it, I didn't understand what y'all was trying to say.
I totally understood it once I went through it, bro.
I didn't until I started reading it. And then I said, oh, this doesn't make any sense.
Zero. NFLPA, I'm with him. NFLPA need to shut it down, never play another Super Bowl in the state of California again until it is. NFLPA needs to go to the NFL. We're not playing in California Super Bowls until you kill this jock tax. That's crazy. I gotta pay you a whole percentage of my salary. And then not just the week I played there, the whole year.
Let me start this. Deebo, we want to start this off by saying, people, please understand this. I understand when you don't talk about if you're making money, the hell with all that. The hell with all that. I'm just trying to break this down to you, and it makes zero sense.
You made me come outside myself.
When you in your salary, though, Deebo, during the playoffs, you're not getting paid your salary.
No,
right? Like this is playoff football,
dude. It don't even matter if I am being paid my salary.
Okay,
they're taxing the whole year, Joe.
That's what I'm saying. Each team, it makes 100. How could you make 100? So each team made $178,000, right?
Mm-hmm. Each player makes
$178,000 for the Super Bowl.
The ones that lost, they lost more money.
The ones that lost, oh my, yeah. So they probably get what? 100 maybe?
It don't matter.
It don't even say.
They're still taxing their whole base.
Okay.
And you're getting half the pay for the loss. So they got 178. What's the name? Probably got 70 something. So they're getting hit even harder.
They're hitting you 7 for duty. They call it duty days. Of them staying out there for 7 days, they're getting hit each day that they're out in Los Angeles
on your whole
check.
Patrick Mahomes, if he was 50, you hitting him on 50, and he only made if he won, he only made 178. Huh?
All I know is
the whole 50.
The thing that doesn't make sense to me though, Deebo, is if
you want to live out there,
this is what I'm saying. Crazy. This is what I'm saying. How can it go over what you made there? You going to play a Super Bowl. Super Bowl is $178,000 you made in the game, right? You leave with a bill of $250,000 and you're getting taxed on your check already. So you coming out the jump after that $178,000, he might see 80 of it, 85,000, and then he's going to have to pay $250 because you went out there to prepare to play in the Super Bowl. That is one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
He lost money going out there, bro.
If he had to take he
won the Super Bowl and lost money.
If he had to go play and he got a check for $178,000 to play in the Super Bowl, and they took the whole check, that's still crazy. But you take the whole check and then tell a man he got to write you a check for $71,000 out of his pocket when he just came out here and played in the game. And you already took the 178. And now you're going to just be like, no, you got to write another check, Fulio.
One more minute.
You was out here practicing.
Hold up. Look at this, though. Think about how much money it brings the state of California when everybody is flooding there. And now
we brought the Super Bowl here.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, and
the
you're
MVP,
pulling more money out the boys' pockets.
You talk about everybody's money. They taking money out the MVP pocket to come out there and play. How? That's crazy.
Bruh. I knew it was a reason I wasn't gonna move anyway. I like the changes of weather. It make you appreciate a 40-degree day, so.
Oh,
Joe.
All I know
NFLPA. Who is the NFLPA current executive director? Whatever you're doing, and like I said, he will only be there for so long. I'm still waiting on them to get me the information. That's what I need to do to run for the NFLPA executive director. But I ain't heard none hide no hair yet from it. They say they was gonna notify it. They ain't notified nobody. But anyway, like I said, NFLPA needs to be on the NFL's neck and let them know we ain't playing in the state of California till y'all get rid of that jock tax.
That's crazy. That's almost like, though, Deebo, when it couldn't, like, in the Pro Bowl, if we went to Hawaii.
LA. It's in LA next year.
LA?
Yes.
Are they gonna drop taxes for being out there for the week?
If you
in
play
LA?
in the Pro Bowl and it's in LA, you getting jock. That's why it's a jock tax. You play a sport out there, you getting it. And then they say, oh, it don't matter. Don't nobody care. Yeah, don't nobody care because how many percentage of people are professional athletes?
Shedeur Sanders failed into that when he went to the Pro Bowl last week. We all know that Shedeur Sanders was robbed of $40+ million. That young man contract, I think, is 4.6, so let's say 4.1, average out to be, let's say $1.2 million a year before taxes. So I've heard NFL players, especially Cam Newton gave some gems about a year ago. He said for any player in the NFL, they don't care if it's Jimmy Horn that was round 6 or Sam Arnold that just got a 3-year, $100 million contract. They said for the first year of every year you play, automatically take 50% off of it. So let's go back to Shedeur Sanders. If Shedeur Sanders' yearly annual salary is, let's say, 1.2, chop that in half automatically. Let's say a cool $1 million. That means Shedeur Sanders, after taxes, and before going to another state, let's say only got $550,000 this year. And all of the other games that he went away, they got to pay Cleveland taxes and they got to play wherever they're going to play. So let's just be fair. So let's just say that 50% that we took off Shedeur's salary already. So let's just say that was after taxes. Let's say that's what he brought home. Let's say $400,000 that he brought home, right? When Shedeur Sanders went to the Pro Bowl, even though it was a blessing in disguise and he's able to put that accolade on his resume, that means the state of California taxed that $50,000 that he got, and it's still looking at, let's say, another percentage or whatever. They taxed Shedeur Sanders $1.2 million from the start. So, hey, guess what? Shedeur Sanders may have went only for this year. Shedeur Sanders, because he went to that Pro Bowl, may have only took home $220,000. So there you go, Vestas. So for any young man that's in college, I said, and I know my girl, what she said, sports, always stress, have them stay in college as long as they can, because that's where they have the power to negotiate their contract. Now, I don't know if these college teams, when they go to other states to play other teams, I don't know if they have to pay state tax. I don't know that. But let's say they do. It ain't nothing like this. Matter of fact, I don't even think that, because they're college kids. So I'm going to say no. When they go to the NFL, make sure you warn them and tell them about these taxes that they don't see. Now, there's a part that I didn't clip up, Joe and Deebo said, because they were in the NFL and they retired, they said that the NFL teams used to take care of those taxes. But guess what the owners did? They said, now the players is going to pay their own taxes out of their own paycheck. Excuse my language, bastards. So think about Jalen Monroe. Think about the 6th rounders. You know what? Hey, guess what? I heard this before, and I didn't believe it until I heard this news today. Really, the only players that get their money, even though they have a very, very low salary, the only players that keep the most of their money is the practice squad players. Tony Talk vested up. What are you talking about? Let's say Cam the Shark. I always mess up the name, but I call him Cam. He played for Colorado. Simon Craig. He's on the practice squad for the Jaguars. I think he got elevated to active roster maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Okay, but they played in Jacksonville. Do you know that young man? Since he was on the practice squad, he doesn't travel, so that means that he's not getting taxed from other states, right? But they still get the benefits of the team. It wouldn't surprise me if Cam, the Shark, Simon Craig paycheck could be similar to Shedeur Sanders' first year in the NFL, because Shedeur Sanders had to pay all those taxes in the other states when he went away for the other teams, and because he went to the Pro Bowl, he got hit twice. So investors and viewers, make sure you inform your loved ones of all the taxes and everything else they have to deal with regarding the NFL. And you know what? Now it makes sense why all of these NFL players go broke. You know, we always thought, especially as a casual fan of NFL, and you see these headlines about these NFL players going broke. Yeah, you know, we see the cars, we see the jewelry, we see the lifestyle, and hey, guess what? They deserve that. And yeah, some players probably don't know how to manage their salaries and their money, but nobody's talking about how the NFL is ripping these players off regarding the taxes. And why? I agree with him. Now, I thought next year's Super Bowl was in Atlanta, according to Deebo&Joe, and I did look it up. Yes, once again, the Super Bowl is in LA. Wasn't the Super Bowl in LA maybe about 3 or 4 years ago? What if the NFL is colluding against these players to have the Super Bowl in California so they can lose some more of their money and get taxed heavy? I didn't know that, investors. So the Super Bowl is in Atlanta in 2028. So that means the next 2 teams, unless the NFL Players Association change it, that means the 2 teams that go to the Super Bowl next year, them and their families, they significant others, they kids, they bank accounts will get hit again with a good percentage. California taxes, like I said, is either the highest in the United States or it's the highest or the second highest. So there you go, investors. There you go. Let me read. Yeah, I know that. All of those players from CU was totally disrespected because they had Shedeur Sanders. They wanted to target him in that collusion. Yeah, everybody knows. I hope that all of those players, and it was so many good CU players that didn't even get drafted. They didn't even get picked up as an undrafted player. Some of those players now are playing in Canada. I can't Chijozi, I think that's how I pronounce his name. So they have found other avenues. And guess what? I said this. Shilo Sanders, I really think that he's going to get another opportunity to get in the NFL. I really believe that. But you know what? Until he gets that contract that he wants, or somebody pick him up as an undrafted free agent, and I hope I'm making sense of this. I hope Shilo Sanders just sits on a practice squad for the next 2-3 years and collect that money. Because guess what? Shilo Sanders, just like Jimmy Horn not Jimmy Horn, Cam the Shark Robinson, and I think Will Shepherd was on the practice squad at one time. they're probably going to be bringing home the same amount of money, if of course, probably a little bit more, but it won't be that much different than Shedeur Sanders' salary for 1 year. If let's say Shedeur Sanders goes back to the Pro Bowl next year, he go get hit again with that paycheck. God dang, the NFL need to do better. These players are not just going broke because of their lifestyles and their spending habits. They going broke because these taxes in the background. And did you know, I heard that if they get certain type of gear from like their team management closet or logistics or whatever, they got to pay that too. They have to pay that stuff. Every time you see the wristbands, every time you see the Scullies and stuff, Shannon Sharp had said that months ago. The players used to go out and get their own gear outside of the uniform. Then the NFL got smart and they started bringing in contractors that would supply that stuff. They don't get that free, boy. They love to put blame the NFL players for going broke when the NFL. Hey, guess what? You playing for the team, but guess what? I'm gonna get every penny I can for you. God, boy, this upset me today. You don't have to believe me. You heard it directly from Deebo&Joe. Deebo&Joe. Now, one good thing I did hear from Deebo&Joe, I'm going to say in October, and this gave me hope for regarding Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to let you go, Vestas. Either the segment came out in October or November. Deebo&Joe had stated that it's something called back pay. So I was like, what you mean back pay? I think they use... If they didn't use Michael Parsons as an example, they used Shedeur Sanders as an example. So we already know Shedeur Sanders was drafted in the 5th round, but he's playing like a first-round talent. This is where Shedeur Sanders can get the Cleveland Browns or any other team. Once Shedeur Sanders' contract ends and he goes to negotiate, he can say, hey, this is my resume. This is what I've done. Even though I was drafted in the 5th round, guess what the NFL has to do? They have to compensate him as a first rounder because he did what a first rounder did. Deebo&Joe said that's where every player, they has the most power to negotiate their contract in their second contract. They said in that second contract, that's where the NFL player, including Jimmy Horn, if they play him right, including Travis Hunter is already is okay. Will Shepard, if they go out and they start generating these high stats, when it comes back to their second contract negotiating in the NFL, they can recoup all that money, especially if they say, hey, yeah, I was drafted in round 6, but guess what? I put up numbers as a player in round 1, round 2. If you don't believe me, just watch that video. I'll drop that in next week. If I don't drop it this weekend, I'll just show that video and say, hey, y'all remember what I said in the live? Hey, here's the proof. And there you go, Vestas. So thank you so much for attending this live. I hope it was very informative. Hold on, let me look at the chats before I go. So glad he told the world. Okay. Hey, Amber. Look, I don't know if you've seen any videos, but if I was Shedeur Sanders, that evidence and actually putting out there in the public and everything that has came out, Shedeur Sanders. I think when Shedeur Sanders negotiate, it's going to be the biggest contract in history. Because if I was Shedeur Sanders, I would tax them for all the money I lost plus interest. And if they don't give me what I want behind the scenes, I will still negotiate my contract and go ahead and file that complaint. Because guess what? Shedeur Sanders in 9 months has all the evidence in the world for a grievance and to file a lawsuit against the NFL. And whoever you are in Georgia and you filed that lawsuit at the end of the draft, they are sick. Woo! That person about to become a millionaire. I don't know if it's a Jane Doe or Joe Doe. Jane or Joe Doe. Even their lawsuit has legs. Oh my God, this about to be crazy. They scared of Shilo because identical to Coach Prime on the field. You know what? Let's talk about Shilo for a little bit. So I did a video on Shedeur Sanders for his birthday about 2 days ago. And I owe the investors and viewers one more video, just a highlighted video about Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, before he got hurt in 2025 in that Nebraska game, Shedeur Sanders was projected to go in the 3rd round, top 90 to 150 player in terms of the draft, right? That was for the collusion and everything like that. I did some research on Shilo. Shilo, at that time, he was second in the nation in terms of forced fumble. Shedeur Sanders even has all of the evidence that he could, even if he wanted to file a grievance and a complaint against the NFL. The evidence is out there. I put in the birthday video to Shilo when he did his run time, and I compared his run time to the free safeties that got drafted. Shedeur Sanders, based off the run time that the NFL scouts recorded for Shedeur Sanders, his run time was in the top 6 or 7. So they can't say that Shilo, he wasn't qualified. So we should see what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders in the next 31 days regarding the undrafted free agency. Shedeur told him, hey, don't play with money. Another thing, when Shedeur Sanders goes up to re-up, Shedeur Sanders, he just turned 24. We got 3 more years. Shedeur Sanders at that time, his mindset is going to be different. Shedeur Sanders is going to be almost a 30-year-old man. And at that time, Shedeur Sanders' mindset is going to be different. He's going to be more mature, and he's going to know how to ask for that money. And if I was him, with my father Deion Sanders on my side and a lawyer on my side, Shedeur Sanders is going to come out with the biggest contract we ever seen. Because the NFL, they're going to recoup. If not, they're going to get hit with a lawsuit. And as I'm going to put out in that video, let me write this down because I'm going to give y'all a video. Deebo&Joe said a few months ago, there's something called a back pay. And Shedeur Sanders, he's going to exercise that back pay in terms of the second year contract, his second NFL contract when it comes to renegotiation. Watch and see. Michael Parsons just didn't hold out because he just wanted to hold out and didn't play. Now I know why the NFL try to make these players look bad when it comes to renegotiations. What we see on the field is only 10% of football. That's why if you got loved ones that want to pay in the NFL, let them know it's more than football. You know, we've heard that cliche. It's more than football. Now it's the stuff behind the scenes. Michael Parsons knew what he was doing. We didn't know at the time, but he know he was due back pay. And guess what? The Green Bay gave it to him. So Vestas, hey, thank you so much. Make sure the next time you catch a live, you come with your drink, your notes, and your vest, because we stay vested up here. And if this is your first time seeing Tony Talks Vested, hey, thank you so much for dropping by. And if you liked anything that I said in this video, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And if you're still in the room and have not hit the like, please hit the like so the algorithm does not kill the video, because as you see, I'm going to represent us and I'm going to represent these players. And I'm watching everything that goes down in the NFL. So Vestas and viewers, thank you so much for hearing this information. Hey, I'll be dropping some more videos, okay? Thank you, Vestas and viewers.